Alright, so I'm going to show you how to use these texture plates from Oregon Trail Silver with a Pepetools roller mill, and how to put textures from this onto your metal to make texture on your metal and make it just more interesting and make more interesting pieces. So you can pretty much do this with scrap material like what I'm going to be doing, or you could do it with material that you buy for this. You're probably going to want to anneal or buy, say, silver that is already soft, just so this can transfer as easy as possible. And I'll show you on these pieces, because I just cut this in half. This is annealed, this is not annealed. So we'll see how that transfers. So when it comes to using the mill itself, you're actually going to want to use these little dials. It makes it extremely easy and gets you consistent results. So basically, you're going to take your plate, and then you're going to take whatever piece of metal and place it on top of it. And then I'm going to put this in the mill just to the point of where it is underneath the bottom part of the roller, and then I'm going to tighten down the roller on top of the metal. So it's going to be just enough so I can move this easily. So once you can do that, you can set this to 0. And I set both of them, but you don't really need to because you only need to pay attention to one of them. Then you can open it and take your plate and metal out. Then reset this to where 0 would be. So once you get it to the 0 again with no plate in there, you can turn it. And I usually only go about that far. So if you wanted to do more, you could try to do it like this, but it depends on your metal and thickness and all that other stuff. So just kind of do what feels good for you. So I'm just going to stay right there. This is the combination mill, so it's the one that has a flat area and for wires. So as you can see, it fits perfectly in the rolling area, but technically you could use it all the way across here, as long as you flip your piece over and don't have your metal touching the wire parts. So I'm going to take it and put it on there, and we're going to transfer that through. Just going to set it in here and roll it through. And you can see it barely transferred it because I only turned it a little bit on there. So now I know with this particular metal, that's also a good reason to use scrap pieces to dial this in. For this particular piece, I'm going to just flip it over because it's just scrap anyways, and put it back on here. So there we go. There's a much deeper pattern on here now. So now I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to use the non-annealed piece and see how it turns out. So here are those pieces, and you could see that the annealed one, which is this one, took the pattern way better than the non-annealed. It's just a lot deeper on this one. And these are with the same settings. This is the same piece of metal, just cut in half right here. So make sure you're working with metal that is already soft or annealed to guarantee better results with your patterns. And here's a closer look at the non-annealed one. You can see it's just not as good in some spots. And then the annealed piece, it's pretty much a perfect transfer. You can also take something like a ring blank and put it through and pattern the entire outside. So this is the ring blank after running it through. It has a nice pattern on the outside and it's completely smooth on the other side. I obviously annealed this and just kind of brushed that off real quick so you can see it. But now this is ready to just be turned into a ring, and it has a nice pattern on it. Keep in mind, if this was the right size ring blank, it is now the wrong size, because this did squish this a little bit and stretch the metal. So now it is a little bit longer. So double check things afterwards, or use pieces of metal that are longer than needed, and then put your patterns in and cut them to size. So if you already have a piece that is cut out, something like this, and run it through, it's going to deform in different ways. For instance, this one probably wouldn't matter too much on how much it moves, but rings and stuff that need exact measurements will matter. Another thing I tried out to just see if it would work is doing wire on a flat sheet. Basically, I rolled this through once and then flipped it and rolled it through again. So now you could use round wire with some texture on it and a clean inside to make bands. And all this is a piece of 2mm copper that I turned into having some texture on it. It's not going to get the best bit of the pattern, but it will get something on it. So you can play with this and see how you can make it work for you. The better thing to do when trying to make patterns or pieces for your work is to do it into a larger piece and then put your pattern onto it. Draw it out or use your stick-on patterns and then cut it out afterwards. And it makes it really easy to have patterned metals.